video is going to demonstrate how to import a macro into your copy of the toolbox to replace a macro that is in there now that in Office 2007, due to one of the updates in the past 6 months, no longer functions exactly as it's designed to do. And this may be a process for other reasons also, where we may send you something to import into the toolbox that perhaps is designed specifically for you. So this is the way to apply this toolbox patch. So we've got the directions right here. First of all, make a backup copy of your working toolbox. We're going to assume that that's already been done, and there's some directions there for doing that. Save the zipped macro patch from the email or however I get it to you. Unzip the patch and save it to a folder, and I put the folder where I saved mine. So we're going to assume that's been done. And I'm just going to demonstrate how to import this macro into your working toolbox. So assuming you've made a backup copy and you've unzipped the MacroPatch2014, then you open up your Tribal Data Toolbox. And what we're going to do is import a macro from the MacroPatch2014 file that we just unzipped. So we know that we put that file, and I put mine into my Tribal Data Toolbox folder in a subfolder called MacroPatch2014. So I see, yep, I've got that unzipped and it's ready to go. So I'm going to go back into my toolbox, and what I need to do now is import a macro from the MacroPatch2014 unzipped file. So to do that, it's pretty simple. You just click External Data, and you can see that you have a whole chunk devoted to importing options. So you're going to want to import something from Microsoft Access. So you select that, and then it opens up a wizard that walks you through importing whatever it is you want to import. So the first is to specify the source of the data. So click Browse, and then you navigate to wherever it was where you saved the MacroPatch2014. And I know mine is in my toolbox folder on my C drive where I put everything associated with the toolbox. And here's my folder, MacroPatch2014. So remember now what I'm doing is I'm going through this wizard where I'm importing something from this database in MacroPatch2014. So I click that database, yep, this is what I want to import something from. I click Open, and then it says, okay, do you want to import tables, queries, forms, reports, macros, and modules? Sure, we do, and because then there's another dialog box that says, okay, what do you want to import? And it has these tabs, and you can see the MacroPatch2014 doesn't have any tables in it. It doesn't have any queries, forms, reports, but it does have one macro, and that's what we want to import. So Ozone Audit Data Entry 1 is the macro. So you click OK, and then it says, do you do this often? Do you want to save the steps of importing this? No. Okay, and now when you go over here, remember to get to this point, if you're at this point, you can press F11, and that opens up this panel on the left where you can view objects, and you can press this drop down box to look at tables, queries, forms, reports, and in this case we're looking just at macros, and you can see the macro that we just imported is called Ozone Audit Data Entry 1. Alright, we did that, Data Entry 1, and now the next step is to delete Ozone Audit Data Entry. And we click delete, and it asks us, do you really want to delete it? And yes, this is okay. If for no other reason, then we know we made a backup copy of our toolbox, right? We did. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, so we deleted that, and then the next step, according to the SOP, is to rename this. I rename this by having this selected, and then right-click, and then say rename. And then all you have to do is click in here so that your cursor is at the very end of the name, hit the backspace button, enter, and now what you've done is you've replaced the Ozone Audit Data Entry macro with this one from the patch. And that's all there is to it. Now your toolbox will run fine, and when you go to do QC calculations of relative percent difference, your calculations will refresh if you change the value, which is what didn't happen before.